Are you ready to get fired up? This is the Spitfire Podcast with your host, Lauren Lemunyon, the Spitfire Coach, a certified life and business coach out of Washington, D.C. We're talking to everyday people on the topics that burn them out and ignite their passion. So sit back, relax, and get ready to spit some fire. What's going on, guys? It's Lauren Lemunyon, the Spitfire Coach, coming to you from my big yellow comfy chair. It reminds me of like the Magic School Bus. Do you guys remember, what was it, Miss Frizzle? Fizzle? I don't even remember, but it was awesome. And I see this chair and it just makes me feel comfy, cozy. So I decided to just record something from it today. And today we're going to talk about boundaries, the elusive B word that undoubtedly comes up, that we feel violation from, that we feel frustration and resentment and all that good stuff. So let's talk about what boundaries are and how we can best communicate them and maintain them in order for us to feel more energized. So when I think of boundaries, it's space that I create to take care of myself. And usually those boundaries are related to my values. So to me, adventure, freedom, passion, play, connection, community, those are my really like important core values. And when I feel like those are threatened, so to me, like big value around time and efficiency, when I feel like people aren't respecting them, it feels like a line is crossed. And so if we think of boundaries as that line that's getting crossed, we can better prepare ourselves to communicate that to people who may be stepping over that line and aren't even aware of it. So a boundary for me may be, me communicating what my availability is. So if I say yes to something and I know that I don't have the time, I know that it's going to exhaust me, but I say yes, I'm actually violating my own boundary. But if someone is communicated to saying, you know what, I'm only free on the weekends, here's my availability, and all they do is invite me to things during the week, it feels like a violation. They're not hearing us. They're not understanding what's important to us. So we can either see it as an attack, as something that's intentional, or we can just see it as what it is. Maybe that's the only time they have available. Or maybe they think it's a great event and maybe we might be free. So if we can think of things in the best intentions from people rather than them trying to get us, that's another great way of being open and honest about your boundaries without it feeling like a personal attack. So understand what your values are. Let's say you have a value around, let's say, comfort, and people keep trying to invite you to things that make you uncomfortable. So rather than jumping down their throat and saying, you violated my boundary, explain to them why your value is really important. And then be open to hearing why they're inviting you to certain things or why they're challenging you. Sometimes people see qualities in us that they want us to kind of get out of. They want us to stretch. So think about, is this boundary keeping me small? Or is this a boundary that's protecting a value that's important to me and my growth? So explore those values and whether they're working for you or they're holding you back. And then think about when a boundary feels like it's being violated, is it testing you into feeling uncomfortable because it's stretching you? Or is it feeling like it's really like to the core icky, not good? So it's really important to be able to clarify why it's violating a boundary, in what way it's violating, and maybe that boundary needs to be challenged in order to allow you to grow. Rico just moved my computer. Apparently he didn't like that. He was violating my boundary of space. So apparently we're going at this angle, but I'm going to bring it back. This is life when you record at home. In-home studios, they're great. So I have boundaries around my physical space. This is a great segue. So I live in a teeny tiny studio apartment that is 395 square feet. I could literally pick up my computer right now, pivot, and you get the grand tour. I'm not going to do that because my bed is not made. Don't judge me. So a lot of what my boundaries around is my personal space. So I have functions in my daily life that I need to accomplish. And if I feel like people are in my space, I communicate that I need space. Sorry, Justin, my boyfriend, I'm throwing you under the bus. Sometimes I need to communicate that I need my space because I do things like this, because I meet with people by video chat or by phone, and having my personal space is very important to me in order to feel like I'm connected, like I'm able to speak freely, like I can breathe. So it's okay to communicate what you need. And I think that's what a boundary is. But when you can separate the emotion and the personalization of it, and you can actually communicate what it is that you want and why, then people hear it on a much different level. Otherwise, it sounds like we're kind of flying off the handle and flipping out. Like nobody hears that. They just hear wah, 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 wah. It's like the Peanuts parent. But if you can speak from a place of clarity, of maturity, and composure, then the likelihood of you getting what you need is it's a much higher probability. So if you want to be successful, think about how you need to communicate, what you need to communicate, and be consistent about it, because people cannot read your mind. You may be on, a really good consistent track, and then you may fall back into old patterns, but get right back on the train of like protecting yourself and like respecting your boundaries. Because if you're not maintaining them for yourselves, you are actually signaling to other people that it's okay to violate those boundaries. So you've got to have that structure and that respect for yourself to then communicate out. So think about the things that are important to you. Think about where you're feeling like your power is being lost, and what you need to communicate, how you need to communicate it, and why you need to communicate it. So get very clear on these things. Practice in front of the mirror. We have these amazing like cameras on our computers and on our phone. Practice. It sounds silly, but you want to feel rock solid in the way that you're able to deliver the message. So when it comes up, when you start to feel that like ickiness of standing up for yourself, you've already got that recorded message in your head. Just go and say it. And it's not about the other person. Their feelings are not going to be hurt because you want to protect yourself, because it's important to you. But if they start to push back, this may be an indicator that someone is a little toxic in your life. If someone else would rather you be uncomfortable or would rather feel that hurt instead of them respecting it, that's an issue. And that's something to look more closely into. So the more that you can create the boundaries, the more you can respect them, the more you're able to objectively evaluate every aspect of your life. So think about the things that you want to work on. Look at your values. I've got some worksheets and I'm going to include the link to them. It's a great exercise to just look at what's important to you and why and how it shows up, and if it's related to growth or if it's related to fear. So actually, if you go to the link, spitfirecoach.com/worksheets, it's listed there. It's connected to the book, Spitting Fire, but you can totally do that exercise of identifying your values and whether or not they're related to fear or they're related to growth. So try it out and then set some boundaries and be consistent and see how it impacts your power and your energy and the people around you. If it's for you, let it be for you. It's not about anybody else. It's about you taking care of you. So I hope this was super helpful. And if you have any other future topics that you want me to talk about, feel free to message me at Lauren@spitfirecoach.com and check out the Spitfire podcast. I'll talk to you later. Bye, guys.